Hey, GLP-1 plus sides community. Before we jump into the podcast, please take the time to leave us a 5-star review on whatever audio platform you're listening to the podcast on. Share your story and how the podcast has helped you. This will help us get referred up in the audio platform so that we can reach more people that need our help, our support, and guidance from our doctors. Help us get loud and change things. Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together, because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault. Hey everyone, before we dive in, I really want to share something personal with you. About, I want to say like 8 to 10 months ago, after losing 100 pounds on GLP-1s and keeping it off for a long time, I started regaining out of nowhere, and I was terrified. But I also started having hot flashes and bouts of crying and snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. unable to go back to sleep. It turns out I was in perimenopause. So I started hormone replacement therapy, which is also called HRT, through a telehealth called Winona that specializes in this. And it changed everything. And now I'm sleeping better. And my hot flashes are all but gone, thank God. And I feel like myself again. And it turns out that you can actually start perimenopause as early as 35. And well, I'm 46 and she's here. HRT has really come a long way, and there's just no need to suffer anymore. So if you're like this and you're in the same boat, you can check out buywinona.com and you can use the link in our link tree to save some money.
Want the fastest working GLP-1? For half the price, Roe now offers FDA-approved weight loss injections cheaper, with results you can see faster. Lose 15% of your weight with the formula from Eli Lilly that hits not one, but 2 hormones to curb hunger and nausea. Weight loss faster, confidence higher, price cheaper. See if you qualify at ro.co/TV.
Enough.
It is fun.
It is.
Welcome. We are back with episode 5 of the Plus Sides podcast.
Yeah.
And we have our lovely co-host, Kat Carter, Junior Trot. How are you?
Yay, fantastic. Can't forget about the AT alien back there.
Yes.
Introduce
Our
him.
AT alien.
Well, why is there a stuffed alien behind me?
They're on Atlanta.
AT alien.
So today we do not have a guest from the community, although we did in our last episode where we talked about genetic obesity. And Kat and I both have struggled with genetic obesity. And we have Dr. Daniel Rosen that's going to be joining us, and we will have him, I want to say, in the hot seat, but let's face it, I showed him the questions first, so he's fine. It's a warm seat. It's toasty.
You signed the disclaimer.
Yeah.
Toasty seat.
So let's just do the disclaimer because Kat's reminding me already. So we are not medical professionals. I mean, we are. Dr. Rosen is, but we are not. Do not take this as medical advice. The only medical advice I will ever say is to go talk to your doctor, because now you can. And we're going to give you all of the, information that you need to feel really strong about advocating for yourself and getting the care that you need and that you deserve. So we're going to talk about that. But if you're new to the Plus Sides and you haven't seen one of our shows yet, the goal of this podcast is to bring education and advocacy around obesity. We want to elevate the conversation of something that people don't really talk about very much, which is why
our title is Fat and Lazy Debunking Stereotypes. I know that can probably hit a little weird for some people, but the truth is that just because you are overweight or obese, it does not mean that you are lazy. And there are plenty of things that we can say to back that up. There are plenty of people that are obese that exercise a lot. We have one with us on our show today. Kat, tell us a little bit about you for those who maybe are just joining and just learning about you. And then, Janine, if you want to say hey too, that would be cool. And then we'll invite in our guests. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Kat. I'm a Libra. I like long walks on the sand and
You're such a ham.
that's me.
Yeah,
long walks on a sandy beach. It's just made me you think of, I'm a Libra. I like pina coladas.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Walks in the rain. Walks in the rain. Okay. So that just went left.
That's okay.
As far as I can remember, I've always been, what did my mom call it? Chubby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always chubby. There's a lot of environmental factors that I think really helped create this eating disorder that I struggled with all of my life. However, I do think there is definitely some genetics involved, just with my family, parents, the rest of my family. Although the rest of my siblings were all very slim, except for me. But my parents were heavy. So, but I was always in sports. I swam, I did basketball, volleyball. I threw shot put. And in addition to like your daily practices, like I would just, I worked out, especially like in high school. And then college rolled around. I didn't follow sports after high school, but I've always loved fitness. I think sometimes it turned into a little bit like purging, where you over exercise and you work out like 3 times a day. I did fall into that once in a while, but I got certified to teach Zumba for a while there, and then COVID. I didn't want to do it anymore.
And then COVID.
I ran a half marathon. I just like being active. Right now, spin is my jam. My cycle bar, East Cobb. I just banged my desk. I'm so excited.
Hashtag for cycle bar, East Cobb.
Cycle bar. It's mental health. A lot of it is mental health now. I have been employing therapy, and so that is a requirement, and I gladly do it. So, but I still struggled with the binging. Until I started taking Mounjaro. It didn't turn everything off, but the obsession really has gone away.
Yeah,
like I said, this is also the diet culture. And coming up with my mother that was obsessed with my weight, I think more than I was. So,
well, I will say, and I don't like to tell people how they should feel. But I think you're a phenomenal human, like in all the ways. And I think you're a complete badass. And, I know you went through a lot of stuff, but like how you have turned out is fantastic. And of course, a lot of that is a testament to you, and what you've been able to overcome. So like, I just want to say that because I love you.
Thank you. Thanks, Kim. And I was,
You're welcome. Yeah. So Janine is also a host on the show. So Janine, do you want to do a quick intro so people know who you are in case this is the first time they're tuning in?
Really quick, because
that's okay.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Talk.
Oh gosh. Okay. Look. Oh gosh.
Come on, people like this stuff.
We will keep this really quick because I can't wait to get to Dr. Rosen.
Yeah.
I'm Janine. I'm let me see. I'm a Virgo, and the world needs us, and the world,
Rosen's a Virgo too.
And the world needs us. Beyonce's a Virgo. So there is that. I am a type 2 diabetic. I was obese, but you know what? I really don't like to say I was obese because I feel that it's because obesity is a chronic disease, it's a chronic, I don't want to say struggle, but it's a chronic challenge. So because I'm now on Mounjaro, it does help me to regulate my A1C and also to help manage my obesity. So I've been on Mounjaro for 3 months. It's a life changer. And I just, am just so glad to be here to educate and to advocate for all of those that need this medication and GLP-1s, period.
Well, we are so happy to have you. That is for sure. And your perspective is really
great
important
perspective.
because even though we do not, Kat and I we do not have type 2 diabetes yet. The whole goal is the yet, right?
You don't
so
want it.
I know we don't.
You don't want it. So
Yes.
I applaud you all for taking your health so seriously, because I'm genetically predisposed to type 2 diabetes. And I always tell people, and I think you've heard me say this, Kim and Kat, that being a diabetic is not a flex.
No.
It isn't, something that you walk around. I'm a diabetic. It's like,
no. It is not fun. No.
Yeah. But at least with GLP-1s, and it has just changed my life and helped me manage my life better. Yeah,
totally. It's awesome. I mean, it's helping your A1C, it's helping get your weight under control, and helping meet some fabulous new friends, because we are born from the TikTok community, for those again who are just joining. So that's how we all became. Well, Kat and I were friends first, but we became friends.
Kat and Kim were friends first, and they were so kind. And this is just a testament of the TikTok GLP-1 community. It's so fantastic. Inviting. Yeah. It is so supportive, and it's just a special place. And definitely. I am just ecstatic. I'm just glad that I just stepped out on faith and made my first TikTok video. I had to Google how to do that. And Kim was one of the first content creators that I started to follow. And I was just scouring social media and the internet, just trying to find information on these drugs and on this medication that I was now on. And it's been such a lifesaver. Really.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we're so glad to have you here. Thanks for coming and being our friend and doing the show with us.
Look,
without further ado, I would like to introduce
another friend.
Guest,
I know,
Dr.
another friend.
Daniel Rosen. I'm going to invite him in.
Yeah.
Hey, Dr. Rosen, how are you?
Hey, friend of the show, fellow Virgo.
Yes.
Hey,
another Virgo? Wow, I am outnumbered.
Hey, look,
I'm a Scorpio.
Hey,
Virgo,
fellow
I'm always
Virgo.
really good friends with Virgos, though.
We're totally unpredictable.
Completely.
Dr. Rosen, Janine, Beyonce, you're in good company. Awesome. Well, hey, so we have lots to talk about today in your nice warm seat, because I'm not going to throw anything crazy at you. Yeah,
I'm ready for it. I've had a patient day today. Today was a non-operative day.
Nice.
I've been talking to patients about GLP-1s. I've been talking to them about how, they don't have to say things like, I know I could be trying harder, because it's so ingrained in them that just giving their normal effort is like substandard, because it's beaten into them. They have to give this superhuman effort all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so true.
I've been rolling all day.
Yeah, great. So this will just be a nice transition. I like it. I like that. We know lots about you, but our audience may not. So can you tell us a little bit about you, what you do, what you're about?
Sure. My name is Daniel Rosen. I've been a weight loss surgeon and doctor for 15 years now. And I'm board certified surgeon practicing in New York City. Surgically, my practice is split 50-50 between bariatric surgery and complex hernia surgery. It's all done minimally invasive, which means with cameras, laparoscopically, or robotically. I don't do any like big cuts, put my hands in there and move stuff around. It's all like tiny little instruments where I'm like controlling stuff. And then my medical practice is mostly, involved with GLP-1 weight loss medication, which has just blown up. in the last, 18 months or less.
Yeah.
So
well, that's awesome. Well, I think your perspective is really important today, especially as we talk about something around like stereotypings with fat and lazy. We know that this is a very interesting title for an episode. But for all people that know me, I'm doing it because I'm trying to get attention for us. So,
well, every obese person has, if they haven't heard it, they've felt it.
100%.
Felt
if
the
not
judgment of.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. Yeah, I think something that I would like to talk about with you today too is, so background wise, and I are listening on this probably from the first episode where I went over my story. I had lap band in 2007. I lost like 80 pounds or so, and I kept it off for quite a while. I had a couple miscarriages and then eventually had my son. And then once I was in my mid 30s, nothing was moving anymore. Like just nothing. It just failed. I mean, I'm glad that I did it. I still feel like it was successful for the amount of time probably it would have been. But eventually I think genetics are just wearing out and, hormones are wearing out. And so I started taking Ozempic and I've lost almost 60 pounds since July of last year. And I have completely changed my life. Like I exercise, I eat what I call well-rounded nutrition. I focus on fuel first. And if I want to have an Oreo, I'm going to eat an Oreo. And I'm okay with that. I just don't eat a sleeve of Oreos. I just eat one, and like, it's okay, maybe two. All right. I might be fibbing a little, maybe 2 Oreos, but I do. And so that's sort of like a background that I have, but like, I didn't know. And that so many lap bands failed because I wasn't researching about it. I didn't want to talk about it. And no way was I going to go to my doctor and go, hey, doctor, I have a binge eating disorder and I have a lap band. Like the amount of shame and embarrassment that came to that for me was just not something that I could do. But my weight spoke for itself when I went, and my lab work wasn't great either. So at that point, she was like, let's talk about some things, and that was when GLP-1s came up. And I'm glad they did because I was terrified to start, but it has for sure changed my life. I mean, just what it's done for my brain, like the food noise, not just food noise. It turns out it was really noisy in there, like a lot, like about everything all the time. Like I would unwind my day in my head. I would worry about things that I had no control over, constantly, obsessively. And it just went like this, turned off that fast. So that's been incredible for me. But I would love to know, I like how GLP-1s in general, like how do they really work, and how are they like or unlike, bariatric surgery? And there's of course a few, so you can explain that to us. That would be great.
Besides the obvious, Besides
Sure.
Thanks, Kat.
Yeah.
Well, GLP-1s are amazing.
Yeah.
And they're a paradigm shift, game-changing medication. Whatever superlatives you want to throw out on there are for the most part appropriate. And the way they work is really innovative. GLP-1 is a hormone that your body makes. It's made at the end of your intestines. And you have to think of your GI tract as constantly sending information to your brain. It might be sending something like, I'm really distended and I'm filled with air. And that may show up as like a cramping sensation, right? But the cramping sensation is created in your brain based on signaling coming from your intestines, okay? And then your brain is making you aware of that because it's sort of unusual and painful. But it's always sending information to your brain constantly. Is the stomach empty? Is the stomach stretched? As the nutrients move down the intestine, those parts of the intestines where the nutrients show up are sending signals. Hey, there's food here. Hey, there's no food here. Send more food down. That may manifest as hunger. So you're constantly getting signals from your GI tract, both neural through what's called your vagus nerve and hormonal, where the cells release hormones into your bloodstream, which circulate to your brain. And the end of your intestines have a special cells that produce GLP-1. And the GLP-1 hormone, when it reaches your brain, makes you feel very full. Okay? High GLP-1s would be associated with that feeling at the end of Thanksgiving dinner when you're like, you have to push yourself away from the table when you're like feeling the food in here.
Yeah.
Okay. But
he's pointing at his neck, listening audience.
yeah, there's no food in your neck. There's no food in your chest. The esophagus isn't filled up with food. But what's happened is food has reached the end of the intestines. And the intestines don't want you to lose nutrients. And they can only process things at a certain capacity. So when you've overwhelmed the system, meaning food is making it to the very end and still isn't fully processed, that those sensors can pick up that you have fats and proteins that haven't been broken down and absorbed yet. And they will be at risk of being pushed into the colon and lost forever, which for your body's perspective, evolutionarily, would be a disaster. Because when will the next meal come?
Yeah.
Is the famine around the corner? You know, the body evolutionarily has no idea that there are bodegas on every corner and liquid drinks filled with calories. Like in nature, there was just water. That was so you can't even pick out the calorie content of a liquid because for a million years it was always zero. So the body didn't evolve to pick up how much calories is in a liquid. So the GLP, you know, the notion of losing nutrients into the colon is a disaster, and the body will do anything to stop the input once food has reached the end. So GLP-1 creates this tremendous satiety signal or a fullness signal in your brain. So these GLP-1 medications, when you inject it, it stimulates the release of that hormone from that part of the intestine, even though there's no food there.
Yeah.
So you're tricked, your brain is tricked into thinking you just ate a huge meal, even though you haven't eaten anything.
Yeah.
And
that's
awesome. that makes you full,
Yeah.
even though you haven't eaten. You're not even like not hungry. You're like, I'm not interested in food. I'm not thinking about food. On the day after your injection, it might be 5 o'clock before you even realize that you haven't eaten anything because you don't have any hunger signaling or triggering. And you also may have, you know, some studies are starting to show, and certainly reports from patients who are on the medications, all of those added benefits. After you eat a full meal, you may not worry about what's going on. You just may feel satisfied and good.
Yeah.
You know? And that can be the decrease in food chatter that people talk about, the decrease in anxiety, a calmness that they experience on this medication, all of those sort of ancillary benefits that people are reporting, typically because of GLP-1. Let's talk about weight loss surgery. Okay. Talk about a band. A band is a mechanical roadblock. Okay. It's a device that's wrapped around the very top portion of the stomach and creates a holdup of food. And as the food goes up in the esophagus, it creates discomfort and you stop eating because you don't want to vomit. It's sort of a negative feedback inhibition.
Yes.
You know, behavioral modification to not eat so much because you don't want to vomit and you don't want to feel the pain of having the food build up above the band. It really works mechanically. And one of the main reasons it fails so often is how counterproductive it is hormonally, right? And Kim, you will probably be able to speak on this, but I'm sure there were times where you ate a certain amount, you were very hungry, you ate a certain amount, you filled up that space right above the band, you knew you couldn't eat more.
Yes.
Mechanically, but you weren't satisfied.
No.
That deep hunger was still there.
Yes. Yes. That is 100% what it was like. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I think eventually my stomach, the non-banded part, kind of started getting smaller and smaller because I was eating less and less. But there's also a way to kind of defeat the band, which is you drink when you eat.
Right.
And a lot of people do that because I found I wasn't getting enough water. I was constantly dehydrated. So, I mean, like I would drink when I would eat just to try to get it in. And that would push the food
lubricate the system. That's
Yes.
one of the things with weight loss surgery patients we tell them not to do.
Yeah.
Because we don't want them to lubricate the system. We want the food to build up. We want them to feel full. And you're asking like the body to not satisfy itself. And if there's a way for it to get those nutrients that it wants, it's going to do whatever it can. It's going to convince you to drink when you eat. It's going to push you to ice cream, or cheese, which is very soft, that
Cereal.
will go down the band, cereal and milk, which is almost like cake when it gets soft. If you think about a sugar cereal with milk. And the hormonal effect of a band, think about it. Is food really ever getting to the end of that intestine? You're eating less mechanically, but it's going to be absorbed at the same rate because your intestines haven't really been changed.
Yeah.
And your stomach makes ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone that we don't often talk about because there isn't yet any medication that suppresses it to help with weight loss. But when the band's in place and you lose weight, it's just like losing weight with a restrictive diet. Your ghrelin goes up, and so you're hungrier. So your hormones are working to defeat the band in most cases.
Yeah.
A gastric bypass or a sleeve have significantly different hormonal impacts than a band. And I'm sure that this wasn't all spelled out for you.
No, I was 27.
And that's...
They may have spelled it out, but I wasn't listening because I was 27.
Right.
And I was like, oh, really? I'm getting this and insurance is paying for it. It's going to make me lose 100 pounds. Awesome. Like,
But were you thinking band all the way in, or were you led by your doctor?
I mean, I basically went in and I think band. I had seen an episode of Oprah where there was a girl that was very young, like who had gotten lap band, and she was talking about it. And I thought, oh my God, like maybe that would help me. Oh my God. Like, cause I've been binge eating since I was 8, Right. So I went in going like, I don't want to have gastric bypass, and keep in mind, there was no like sleeve or anything like that in 2007, so I went in and I was like, this is what I want to do. And my insurance will pay for it. And like, and they were like, yeah, like it's 1,000 times safer. Let's do it. And I was like, oh, cause I was really young. I didn't want to, put myself, and I also wanted to have a child, and I was concerned of what that would be like, and the band was very much like positioned to me as it can be removed. It can be removed. Like I can't give you your stomach back if I take it away, but like I can, that's how they would say it.
And that's all like standard lingo by a doctor who wants you to get a band, especially a doctor who only does bands.
Yeah.
I do bands, sleeves, bypasses, revisions. So I can offer whatever's appropriate for the patient. I'm not pushing them specifically to a one procedure that I do. Yeah. And the reversibility argument doesn't really hold because you have a chronic disease.
Yeah.
And you don't want an intervention for a chronic disease that's reversible. You want something that's reproducible, effective, with a low complication profile. No one says like, I have stomach cancer, cut my stomach out, but I want it to be reversible.
Right.
No one wants their cancer back. Yeah. And it's the same thing, but to sell reversibility was like a way to push a band. Now look at a sleeve. A sleeve cuts off most of your stomach and leaves you with a banana-shaped sleeve, like the sleeve of my shirt, right? A hollow tube that's thin and narrow. That's what your stomach becomes. It's not a device that's like a long plastic sleeve. It's just your stomach, but it's shaped like a hollow tube that's like a banana. And by cutting off 3/4 of the stomach, your ghrelin, which is made by the stomach, it's a hormone made by the stomach to stimulate eating, goes to the floor. And therefore people say like, I surgically removed their appetite. They're not interested in food. They're not thinking about food. And because the mechanical function of the stomach is so much less, food is less broken down, and in the intestines gets further down. So even though you haven't operated on the intestines, when you get a sleeve, your GLP-1 levels go up because the food is less mechanically broken down. So it makes it much further in the intestines, stimulating those hormone release from the end of the intestine. A gastric bypass goes even further. It takes your stomach and staples off a small little pouch the size of an egg, and then takes your intestines and connects it at like the midway point of your intestine. So the food goes straight from that little pouch with minimal breakdown right into the like 50-yard line of your intestine, or even the 30-yard line of your intestine. And that's going to really stimulate the end of your intestines or the hind gut to release GLP-1. And that's how...
Quick pause here. I've had moments on my GLP-1 journey where insurance changes or rising costs force me to look for a new provider. And honestly, that process can feel very overwhelming. But that's why the Plus Size Podcast is partnered with GLP Winner to give our subscribers a resource to help them make that decision easier. GLP Winner is a comparison platform that lets you explore telehealth providers in all 50 states, whether you're looking for brand name medications or compounded options. You can see pricing up front, read reviews, and get a clear picture of which provider might align best with your needs. Check it out today at glpwinner.com/plus-sides. That's glpwinner.com/plus-sides. Don't forget the Z. Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications, and I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m., and I had hot flashes, and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause, and I started HRT, and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is, geez, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through this same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, and this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you have this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need.
"20 seconds a week to lose 20% of your weight in a year with diet and exercise. That's the power of GLP-1s through Ro. Ro helps find the medication that's right for you, based on cost, availability, and your weight loss goals. Losing weight with GLP-1s is possible through Ro.
Oh no, we lost you. We had everything going so great. It's okay.
No.
We lost you, Doc.
Am I there?
We can
I
hear
can
you.
hear you.
That's fine.
You can hear
We
me?
can hear
All
you.
right, we'll get there.
Yeah.
There you go.
There he is.
Okay, I'm back. So
I like it.
it was by trying to figure out how gastric bypass was so effective in doing what? Curing diabetes. That led to the
Interesting.
revolution of GLP-1s. Because what they saw was people who got gastric bypass, they were able to come off their insulin completely before they even left the hospital.
Wow.
So it clearly wasn't weight loss. Something else was going on that allowed diabetics to come off their medications.
I had heard that.
And so by reverse engineering and doing studies of the hormone changes in the GI tract after gastric bypass compared to before gastric bypass, that's where they came to this understanding of GLP-1s for diabetes. And that's why all the GLP-1 medications, Byetta, Victoza, they all come out as diabetes medication.
Yeah.
And I saw early on that these medications had effectiveness with weight loss.
Yeah.
But it didn't really click as something to do with non-diabetics.
Yeah.
But clearly the data was there, and that was capitalized by Novo Nordisk when they rebranded Ozempic as Wegovy.
Yeah. Oh, good segue. So, that's fascinating.
Right.
So like in tech marketing, because y'all know I don't work in healthcare, but I'm a tech marketer, and we call things reverse engineering a lot when we're like taking things and breaking them down. Is it kind of like that?
Yeah. That's how they got GLP-1 meds, by reverse engineering the hormonal changes in a gastric bypass.
Wow. That's fascinating. And now look what's happening.
That.
Yeah.
That really makes me think about that. Like, was it really physical or is it mental? Like, the compulsion to binge has definitely subsided for me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's interesting because, for years, doctors would, they give you ADHD drugs or anxiety medication, but that's you're seeing things kind of blur, like lines are getting blurred with that.
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
And we know there's overlap because we know that ADHD medications that are stimulants cause some degree of weight loss. Now that's working on a different brain mechanism in the hypothalamus than the GLP-1 medications, but it stands to reason that people on GLP-1s, who experience less anxiety, maybe there's a role for those medications strictly for anxiety. And I have patients who have come seeing me who need to lose 5 to 10 pounds, but have heard about the anti-anxiety effect of these medications and are asking me to put them on the meds. And for the right patients, I think it's a reasonable application.
Wow.
Interesting.
And there's studies about it. The impact with anxiety is about 5 times more than with depression. It's really quite compelling with anxiety. As a medication for depression, the jury's out, and we obviously need a lot more studies before any of this can be, rolled out as primary treatment. But if you're obese and anxious, it's like potentially killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
I have to say, and like you said, there's still a lot to be, I think, learned and discovered with this. But when I was in college, I was diagnosed as bipolar. I went to a doctor and said, hey, I'm having like these crazy mood swings. And sometimes I'm, and I went and said it just like this. Sometimes I'm manic. Sometimes, and they're like, oh yeah, it sounds like you're bipolar. And they put me on Depakote. And Depakote made me gain 100 pounds. Like that. And I'm not really sure I am bipolar. I mean, maybe I'm both. I don't know. But all I know is I don't have to take an they put me on Wellbutrin and a bunch of different things to start with, but I kind of really never needed them. I think like also once my weight got better, I felt like, like mood wise, I got better and have like swings and stuff anymore. But like another good point, I think, to being able to prescribe things off label, if they had prescribed Lamictal for me off label, which just doesn't have that intense weight gain, then maybe I would not even be here right now. But I'm not sure because honestly, now that I'm on these medications and not just with the weight, this is before I was losing weight. When my noise went off, and I say noise because it was all the things, kind of everything just felt evened out, and I just didn't have those problems anymore, and I can't help but wonder, was it all related? Just in the way that we found out that, how closely related the biological dysfunction, if you will, of type 2 diabetes and obesity are related. I don't know. I mean, obviously I think there need plenty of studies about that, but it's like you said, I mean, there have been studies to show that it's improved things that, improve people who had anxiety. So I'm super curious. I can't wait to see how that all shakes out.
Yeah. The studies are going to just be fast and furious for the GLP-1s.
Yeah.
Makes you think of like hormones too. You mentioned like hormones is what helps regulate hunger and things like that. Maybe it could be even like a bigger problem. Maybe because I know I'm on thyroid medication. It makes me think like it could. A lot of bleeding into each other. So that's it's fascinating.
Yeah,
pun intended.
Literally.
Yeah. It comes down to your hormones. Don't tell my husband that. So
it all comes down to your brain.
Oh yeah.
Don't they say that the gut is like the second brain? Don't they say that?
Yeah, they do.
Whoever they is. You're like, yes,
right.
It is me. I am the one that says it.
Well, it's just, they say you feel things in it, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, totally.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. Like trusting your gut. That's a big thing for me. I have a gut, and all the ways that you can have one, but Kat, I think you had a question.
Oh yeah. There was a common misconception. We were just talking about how, with the title "Fat and Lazy," I know the misconception is that if we're gonna for those of us who are taking the GLP-1 medication, I am taking Mounjaro, is that it's cruise control. And that we know that's definitely not the case. You still definitely have to work at it, incorporating the fitness and diet. But for those of us in the obesity community or those who are looking to maybe make that journey or approach this with their medical provider, do you have any sort of tools or things that would be that our listeners could put in their toolkit when they're approaching, let's say, insurance or their providers?
For getting approved for Mounjaro?
Getting approved for Mounjaro, GLP-1s, anything like that.
Well, obviously, it's difficult because
Yeah.
as backwards as society is when it comes to looking at obese patients, it's influenced doctors, in terms of how they treat obese patients, and it's influenced insurance companies in terms of getting approval for obesity services. Take surgery, for example. I would never have to spend more than 5 minutes to get someone approved for a surgery on their stomach, like anti-reflux surgery. If someone has bad heartburn, I can just basically write a note that says the patient has clinical symptoms of heartburn. Maybe I do an endoscopy and get some biopsies and submit that, and they would be approved. But if I wanted to do a sleeve on their stomach because their BMI is 45, they're 120 pounds overweight, all of a sudden the patient needs to undergo 6 months of medically supervised visits before their surgery will be approved. They need a site clearance before their surgery is approved.
Wow.
Because insurance companies treat obese patients different than they treat non-obese patients. They don't treat obesity in the same way as a biological disease. For them, they need to show that 6 months to prove some sort of level of commitment, as if the obese patient who's gained 120 pounds has proved that they are not committed.
Right.
Whereas if they're coming for a surgery, they've probably done 50 diets that have failed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. Indeed.
And it's just epidemic.
Yeah.
In insurance companies and doctors. I had someone write me on TikTok who was a nurse who says when she goes to her doctor, she can engage in things on like a medical level where the doctor seems to respect her and acknowledge her level of expertise by being a nurse and being in the healthcare community. But when she approached him about GLP-1 medications, all of a sudden the doctor suggested that she keep a 6-week food journal and count calories.
Yeah.
And
that gets a little bit patronizing to me, like, because I've been through that, right? And so that's how I feel. But keep going.
So with regard to getting insurance authorization, it's difficult because some insurance companies have a complete, we don't cover weight loss services.
Right.
Other ones, will only approve medications if you're diabetic. Some will approve it if you're pre-diabetic, and some will approve weight loss medications like Wegovy. And it's a crapshoot. So you really have to understand what insurance you have specifically. You have to look for exclusions to the benefits that are like in the fine print. But a doctor who's motivated to get you the medication is the first step, because without that, you'll never get a pre-authorization. So you have to go to like an obesity literate doctor. That's the first step towards getting authorization for medications.
Yeah. So that's the first step, everybody.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
If you're dealing with a doctor who's dismissive, that's a major red flag. That's not someone who's going to go to the mat to try and get you these medications, because they probably don't even believe you need them.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's super true, because I didn't even really know to ask. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I legit, I had just given up. I really had. I was at the point where I was like how, I'm just going to be like super vulnerable. How pathetic am I? Is what I would think to myself constantly. That I have had weight loss surgery, that I lost 80 pounds, that I kept it off for a long time, that I had, like I had miscarriages and I had a kid and all of those different things.
But none of that counts, right? None of that counts.
Yeah. No, none of it did. And I also had like this, how could I was so successful in so many, like in so many other areas of my life. Like I had a strong career. I have amazing friends, I have a fantastic family, I'm a mom. Like I have such a full, good life, but somehow none of it mattered because I couldn't control my food. Do you know? And like that, I'm sorry to get upset, But that for me was so sad. And so eventually I was just like, well, I guess this is it. And there was no way I was going to proactively say anything, you know? So I hate for people to even think that way, but like something that happened with me when I started taking the medicine is I was the opposite of Kat in terms of exercise. I was actually quite active in high school, but it was because like I was on the color guard dance team flag people. And I had a good time doing that. That was kind of my thing. And I played like little sports and stuff like that. I was active, but I still was always obese. I was still large. I still always had, I was always plus size, but as time went on, say less and less activity, less interest in activity, more weight gain, but now that I take these medications, you know how people always talk about like endorphins and exercise, release some endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people don't kill their husbands, like that kind of thing. Like I never felt that. And when anybody would tell me to take a walk because I was anxious, I wanted to punch them in the face. Like I didn't get it, but I actually feel that now. I feel those endorphins.
A walk will
make you feel a little, Kat.
I get it.
Did she say kill her husband?
No, but I said walk, not kill your husband.
No. Like I'm staying out of that conversation, Dr. Rosen.
You didn't have the tools, Kim.
Yeah.
You didn't have the tools to feel it. And these medications for some people function as that tool. It unlocks that capability because that was hidden by so much noise and so much hunger.
Yes.
And that's individual and that's part of the disease.
Yeah.
And that's genetic, biologic, physical. It's all those things, but it's not laziness and it's not a weakness of will and it's not a failure of self-control.
Yeah.
It's not any of that. If you take an obese person and you take a normal weight person and you put them in front of salads and pizza, the distribution of people who will go for the salad first and versus the pizza is probably going to be the same across both populations. If you give an unlimited buffet to an obese person and a normal weight person, the amount of calories consumed by each will probably even out to be the same. Now, the obese person might retain more of those calories. The obese person might have a quicker rebound in their hunger drive after a certain amount of calories, but that's all, hormonal and genetic. The obese person might run at a lower metabolism and therefore retain weight eating the same number of calories as a normal weight person. But none of that has any, there's no control. There's no conscious control over those mechanisms. So in order to counteract them, the recommendation is some sort of superhuman level of restraint.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah.
Or Dexatrim. I'm just kidding. That's just awful. Awful. Like I'm having PTSD today.
Ma Wang. Did you hear about Bethany Frankel and Ma Wang?
No, you called her Dr. Bethany Frankel.
I mean, she's parading as one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an epic one.
Cosplaying.
We were all sort of trying to debunk that whole no Ozempic BS. If y'all ain't seen it, Google, because it's there. Because if it ain't there anymore, somebody's doing it or done something with it. The internet is evil and amazing all at the same time. But she was saying a lot about that, right? And she said talking about people's personality being changed, and it must be the Ozempic and all this different stuff. I was just like, good Lord, what a ding dong. If you have a platform like that, don't go run your mouth like that unless you say hey, this is my opinion and I'm not really sure. And even then, if you have a plus size brand clothing, don't talk bad about the people that buy your shit. Right, Kat?
She sells plus size. I bought one of her sweatsuits a couple years ago.
No way.
Yeah. And it was hella flattering, but we're getting off topic. It was a really nice sweatsuit.
Are we?
This is Dr. Frankel. She sells sweatsuits.
Dr. Frankel.
Skinny girl? Dr. Skinny Girl?
It was skinny girl sweatsuit. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Isn't that such an oxymoron? Your brand is Skinny Girl, but you make plus size clothing.
Odd.
Like,
I don't know if it
Yeah.
was plus size.
like,
It was just like it was available in plus. It was size inclusive. That's yeah.
Oh, clever.
oh,
As
Got
a
it.
marketing person, I find
look,
that very, very clever.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, well, and with her, I don't even want to say her name. With her
Yeah. No more attention.
saying all of that, and with a person like me who's a member of both communities, sometimes it's difficult because you have the obesity community, you have the diabetic community, but these GLP-1 drugs are working so well for both communities, which it's really almost one. Why do you think that the GLP-1s are working so well? And I think you kind of answered it, but for diabetics as opposed to just insulin or metformin, and why do you think it's working so well for those that are obese?
I think it works great for diabetes because it primes insulin release. Okay, that's what it does. And for a diabetic, a type 2 diabetic, you're often resistant to insulin, meaning it takes extra high levels of insulin to stimulate all of those mechanisms that you need to process calories. And the calories go from your food, from your gut into your blood. And if you're consuming sugar or carbohydrates, that's going to raise the sugar in your blood. That's why you do finger sticks and check your blood sugar. And if you're resistant to insulin, then it takes a lot of extra insulin to get that sugar out of your blood and into your cells where it belongs and can sort of power the metabolic activity of those cells. So anything that increases insulin is good. And especially if it can be increased endogenously, meaning within your body, instead of exogenously outside your body, like insulin injection. So the fact that this hormone can prime your GI tract to promote internal insulin release helps you control your blood sugar tremendously. And they're finding that, insulin is also a very profound fullness hormone. Think about why it works, right? Your body gets in a lot of food. We got to metabolize all this stuff. We got carbohydrates in here. We got fats, and the bile and the pancreas work to sort of send out enzymes that break that stuff down. And then it's getting further down into the GI tract, smaller and smaller bits, constituent parts. And then it starts getting extracted by that intestine into your bloodstream. Now we got fats and we got glucose and carbohydrates circulating the blood, and it's got to get from your blood into the cells. And while all this is happening, you don't want a lot more food coming in until you've gotten those nutrients out of the blood and into the cells. So the insulin that makes you metabolize that food and draw those carbohydrates and sugars into the cell also tells your brain to make you feel less hungry so that you're not putting more into the system until the blood sugar goes down, because it's all in the cell. And when your blood sugar goes down, that triggers hunger. So low blood sugar triggers hunger. So it's like this scale that kind of is constantly in movement. And so because GLP-1 stimulates insulin release, and because a non-diabetic person is not insulin resistant, they are sensitive to insulin, more sensitive than a diabetic. The weight loss in a non-diabetic is more profound with these GLP-1s than in a diabetic.
Wow. And I'm so glad that you answered that, because I knew it takes diabetics longer to lose weight than it does for non-diabetics. So, when you see all of these, I lost 6 pounds this week. I'm like,
crazy.
I
never lose that much.
Look, I gained 1.8, and that's a true story. I actually weighed myself yesterday and I gained 1.8 pounds. but I'm like, oh, but but now that makes sense.
Right. If you look at the weight loss data from the medication that it came out, it's surprisingly low compared to what we see with non-diabetic patients, because all that data was generated with diabetic patients.
Right.
Interesting.
Yes. And that's what I was telling someone, was that you have to remember that that the trials were with diabetic patients.
Mhm.
So that's the, information that you're going to get. And again, I'm not saying, diabetics are all that. It's just that is what the trials were for.
These medications have really put a rift in the communities.
Yes.
Yes, they have. Indeed.
Look,
I feel like it wasn't as bad until the shortages. But then when the shortages happened, then people started getting pissed and the rift started.
I mean, you put a shortage of anything in any community, and it's going to tribalize that community.
We saw that with the toilet paper in 2020.
yes,
So true.
Yeah.
True.
toilet paper, Mounjaro, and I didn't hear it as much with Ozempic, but Mounjaro, it was just like, and it's like, whoa,
Oh no, it happened.
Lay off my Mounjaro.
Yeah. My Mounjaro. I'm like, oh, okay. So does that medication have your name on the patent? Oh, okay, great. But but
it is an off-label application, and that needs to be acknowledged, that it's an off-label use of a medication that's been FDA approved for diabetics. That doesn't mean that it's like only for diabetics. That just means that the FDA has approved its use for diabetics. Now, what if you're just a little diabetic but really, really obese? Who gets who gets that Mounjaro? If it's just there's one pen and two people, are we going to do comparative suffering of diseases? Like my disease is worse than your disease?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think it's very,
Thank you.
I think the whole point is that people don't look at obesity as a disease, at least like the gen pop, like they don't look at it that way. They don't and I mean, I've even explained
even
to
the
you,
diabetics,
like no one ever said that to me. No one ever said, you suffer from obesity. Did you know that it's a chronic disease? Like, no.
Right.
Yeah.
I just thought I was pathetic. Like I really just did.
Yeah.
It's going to be a slow climb to educate the population.
Yeah.
But we got to keep fighting that fight.
Yeah, we got to.
I do see the climb starting. Like
I see it starting. And
we're at the base of the mountain. We're maybe a little bit up. Yeah.
We're like, maybe the base is here and we're maybe like right here.
We're on the hiking trail, right?
Yeah.
All the people that can't.
At least we're not on the base.
Yes. Where are we? Because we keep going. We're over here, and then we're here, and then we're here. We need a visual.
We're on the mountain.
We're on the mountain.
You know what? We are on the mountain. And I just wanted to ask, in terms of the WHO, the World Health Organization, I know that was really big news about them recommending GLP-1s for, as an essential medication. What are your thoughts about that? And how do you think that decision or that recommendation will shift the narrative for obesity?
I think it's really profound. I think most people don't appreciate how profound it is, because if you look at the medications on that WHO list of essential medications, most of it is for deficiencies. Iodine is an essential medication to prevent thyroid goiter.
Wow.
So vitamin C is an essential medication to prevent scurvy. It's all about like how, and it's really focused on a very colonialistic Western medicine view of third world countries, frankly. So it's like the first medication that's like pointing at the first world countries and the first world problems, because the fact is that many more patients in the world, many more people in the world suffer from this overabundance than, diseases related to overabundance than diseases related from a lack of resources.
Yeah.
And so this is the first medication that's been recommended that focuses in on that recognizes obesity as a worldwide problem and diabetes as a worldwide problem. And it speaks to how effective these medications are.
Yeah.
They didn't recommend metformin as a, as an essential medication. They recommended liraglutide, which is, Victoza and Saxsenda.
I started on those medication. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
That was a great GLP-1. It doesn't get enough attention because they say that one's going to go generic sooner, right? Rather than the other ones, because it's been around a long time.
Yeah.
So I think people should know about that, because if you can't afford one, it may not work for everybody. And I had to move up kind of slowly on the dose, but at 3 milligrams of that medication, my food noise was gone. That was my first experience with it. It really is a very good medication.
Yeah.
Yeah. My experience. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And you're actually hearing more people now taking, Victoza and liraglutides because of insurance issues that they can't get the tirzepatide or even sometimes semaglutide. So
a lot of times.
Yeah, a lot of times. So Dr. Rosen, my last question, fellow Virgo, is how with the weight loss success from GLP-1s, do you believe, and there's now a school of thought of saying that there may need to be a layered approach to weight loss because these GLP-1s can only take you so far? And if you have a certain weight loss goal, that you may need something else in addition to the GLP-1s? What are your thoughts on that?
I think a holistic approach is great. I think with every patient who's on a GLP-1, if you want to get as far as you can on that medication, a commitment to putting the right things into your body from a food perspective is really important. Exercising as much as you can. It's old, but it's tried and true. And when delivered in a holistic approach with something else that will drive the needle, then it's very effective to help it be more successful. It does not work standalone to get rid of obesity. It might work to prevent obesity, but I do think there's a role. And I think that engaging with a healthcare professional like a nutritionist in that setting, and it has to be the right nutritionist. It cannot be the nutritionist who says you don't need those meds. I have the answers. That's not who you want. You want the nutritionist who understands how these meds work, who can talk to you about, like, okay, on the first 2 days of your injection, like, you're not thinking about food at all. What can we get into your body that will drive your energy, and make sure that you put healthy things into your body when you're not hungry, and can sort of guide you along that route. I think that can help you get more weight loss on a per week or a per month basis while you're taking that medication. Same goes with exercise. I think that, people are saying, is this going to replace bariatric surgery? I have patients who I did a sleeve on one person, and she said, my sister started tirzepatide the same week I had my sleeve. 6 months later, we're at the same weight.
Wow.
Yeah, like that's unheard of. That's unheard of. And does that mean it's going to replace bariatric surgery? And I don't think it is. I think that there's going to be patients who don't want to be on this medication, or who have side effects from being on this medication, but are going to want the effect of that medication, and they will be good candidates for surgery. I think there are going to be people who would prefer to have a surgical intervention than put a certain medication into their body for the rest of their life. I think there are going to be people who can't get all the way that they need to get, who need more mechanical restrictions on top of this medication. So there's a role for combo therapy in terms of surgery and medication. It's incredible for my patients who have lost a lot of weight and then regained weight to sort of take them back to where they were. It's very effective from that perspective. I think we're just learning on how to use these medications, how to approach maintenance when someone gets to their goal weight, and to not be a doctor who takes it away, and then the patient's left to fail. Because the majority of patients will gain back the majority of their weight
Right.
they're taking off these medications. Unfortunately, the body doesn't reset at a lower weight. You talked about how you gained weight during the difficult times in your life and being on those medications. Well, that allowed your body to set at a new equilibrium. And that's where your body always wants to get back to. But when you lose weight, it doesn't set at that lower, healthier weight, unfortunately, because that's not how evolution programmed us.
Wow.
That's fascinating. Yeah. I think that's so interesting. You know, speaking of like, I think, you know, what this is like, you know, through age and through different times of my life. Right. So I mentioned, so I'm a larger person. I'm tall, I'm large, it's a 10-pound baby. Like my father's huge. He's just a giant man. Like, and his whole side of the family is huge. My mom's average, you know? So I'm somewhere in the middle. And, I remember and I don't want to bust too much, but I had a cousin growing up and she would say, or we were trying to get her to eat. I was very young and she didn't want to eat. She just wanted to eat pureed stuff because she didn't enjoy eating. And she would say, none of us understood because we all like lived to eat, you know? And she was like, I eat to live. I just eat to live. I don't care if it's a puree or whatever. And she had to go through, we were little, you know, but she would go through therapy. And I remember like the adults talking that way. And so I think this kind of goes back to something that's kind of controversial right now, which is the fact that, for example, Wegovy, right, was approved to be able to treat children that are 12 years and up who struggle with obesity. Now, whatever those definitions are, I don't know, but it's something that's gone around a lot and people have some pretty strong opinions there because I know a lot of doctors have told us anyway, that treating obesity as soon as possible is going to have the best outcome health-wise. And so I think this is, I mean, I look back and I think I'm glad that wasn't in existence then, because I think it would have been hard as a kid for me to go, you know, I think I probably would have wanted to do it, but I don't necessarily think that was best for me. But I think everybody has differing opinions. And I think understanding the science of it would be interesting.
Yeah. I think that it's a controversial topic.
Yes.
You know, especially in today's day and age, because on a totally unrelated topic, there's so much heat in the news about trans kids and hormones for trans kids and surgical procedures for trans kids. And there's like an inevitable co-optation by people who don't want obese kids on these meds for some reason, where they're equating them. And it's really not apples to apples at all. It's completely unrelated, frankly.
Yeah.
But it bleeds in. So you have people who say like, keep meds away from our kids. And when the ruling by the NIH about the use of semaglutide for kids 12 and older came out, you saw immediately that sort of, and mostly it was in conservative media. And it's no coincidence that it was conservative media because it piggybacked that whole trans thing where they were saying like, keep these meds away from our kids.
Yeah.
So I come from it from a medical perspective, and I don't treat kids. I don't operate on kids, but there are bariatric surgeons who do operate on kids, pediatric bariatric surgeons.
Wow. Didn't even know that.
Yes. And there's a lot of totally appropriate indications for pediatric bariatric surgery. There's some diseases like Prader-Willi, which are genetic diseases that come with a hyperphagia, which is hyper eating. Phagia is eating, and it's a centrally controlled hyperphagia. And these kids hit 300, 400 pounds before they're adults.
Wow.
Like you can be 10 years old. Like the treatment for parents with Prader-Willi is to put a padlock on the refrigerator.
Oh my goodness.
And that's an excellent application for a sleeve gastrectomy for patients. And there's been growing pediatric bariatric surgery for a while, for the last 10 years. Wow. And now this brings into question, maybe we don't need to do a life-threatening surgery on a kid if they have access to these medications.
Indeed.
And there can be health ramifications to being 100 pounds overweight when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
But I don't see that as nearly as evocative as the social ramifications.
Yeah.
And the ability to take someone who is not just socially an outcast, but is so physically limited in their interaction with their peers, and giving them the opportunity of having a high school existence where they're not so marginalized.
Yeah, exactly.
And a college really good experience. And how that can impact their emotional well-being for life.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be discounted.
Yeah.
And to not need to do it through surgery, to have these medications available for a 12-year-old where it's been proven to be safe.
Yeah.
For that age group, it seems like it would be irresponsible to not consider it.
Yeah.
For a kid, to not appreciate those benefits, risks versus rewards.
Well, a lot of that is ignorance. You know,
I agree.
You just mentioned. I mean, I didn't even know that. And I suffered with, childhood obesity, and I didn't even know that there was. So I think there's like, nobody talks about that. They hear this stuff in the news, and the news spins it as much as they can to fit their own agenda, to further whatever they're wanting to do, and nobody says, but did you know that there are these kids that suffer with this, and this can help them in this way? And maybe we don't have to, like everything you just said, like nobody says that. Nobody says that. They're just like, oh, it's moms that are upset because, their kids are 30 or 40 pounds overweight. Like that's what people hear, and it's not actually the case. But I think it's good, like for you to say, let's just talk about it. Having a conversation with your doctor, whether it's about your child or yourself, should not be so taboo that you can't just say, what are options? I think that's important for people listening, for yourself, for your children. It's something to consider. It's a conversation having research and education to explore.
And patients need to be empowered. If their doctors shut them down on this, they need to not just find a new doctor, but let that doctor know why they're finding a new doctor.
Yes.
That doctor is spurred to get educated and to open their mind about how they view obesity, both as an adult disease and a childhood disease.
Yeah, absolutely. Fascinating. Thank you so much for coming today, Dr. Rosen.
Thank you, Dr. Rosen.
Great
I had a great time. I love talking about this stuff. I mean, it's a passion.
Yeah. Well, we will have to have you back on for sure.
Yeah, and I'm always talking about this stuff on social media.
Yes.
If you've seen my TikTok, if you've seen my Instagram, it's Dr. Daniel Rosen for all my handles.
Yeah.
Check out the content. Comment me. I'm trying to respond to most things as long as they're reasonable.
Yes. He's got some
it's so entertaining. We love it.
So entertaining. Yes.
Yeah.
It is
awesome. Go check him out.
His content is entertaining and educational. So
yes,
definitely.
Spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we'll definitely have to have you back. So hang tight on that one. Okay.
My pleasure. Look forward to it.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, that was so great.
Wasn't that not
He's so funny.
The best conversation, especially about childhood obesity?
Like, did you guys even know that? Because I didn't, and nobody wants to talk about it because they have to constantly jump to the extreme because it's uncomfortable, right? And I don't know, that was wonderful. That was reaffirming, I think, a lot for me too, with my surgery and then like what I dealt with. And then I think even with Kat, like how she exercises like crazy. She's super healthy, you you look at it from like that lens.
Kind of. Yeah.
You all.
No, say kind of. Listen to me. I'm discounting myself already. No, that's true.
But you all.
I'm not going to let you do that. You don't let me get away with it.
You could see the emotion literally like running through you all because again, I don't want to overuse the word, but these are traumatic experiences.
You can. They are. Yeah.
And and I believe Dr. Rosen touched on a point, and you did too, Kim, about how the conversation needs to be had, at least for childhood obesity, to give the child a chance.
Yeah.
And
you're so right about that social emotional stuff. That's so important. As a mom, I recognize that.
High school really kind of shapes your social adult life. High school.
True.
High school. You know, so I
Sometimes your
don't have
perspectives on
children.
yourself, which are not true. Yeah. I don't either,
Yeah.
but I get it.
I mean, I am sitting here almost mind blown because I can't even imagine if these drugs were available when we were in high school. How would the trajectory of our emotional and psychological lives make
If the
them change?
science were around as well, like if it were, because all of our lives it's been a moral failing, you know.
Yes.
Um, I-
So true.
I'm a little sensitive about it because my mom stuck me with nutritionists all the time, and I'm not just gonna get too deep, but my mom found out I was purging and she sat me in with a nutritionist and a counselor. I'm not sure if that was the best, but I'd imagine the science now available to your parents to be educated, like the obesity is not, it's not this disorder. Well, it is a disorder, but or you know what I mean. Like
I do know.
not
I do know.
you're not your
It's
mental
not a
issues,
moral
but
failing. It is not.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not a moral
A
failing. It's
biological
not just
issue.
push away from the table. It's
Right.
not put your kid on a diet every day. Send your kid away from the table when everybody else hasn't gets ice cream and it's your time to go. I mean, that's also that's why I'm playing nature versus nurture, because that's social. I know a lot of kids grew up that way where everybody else was slim, but you're singled out, and that also creates a big problem too. But if the science were around, and
you have to at least have the conversation. You have to. You have to at least talk about it. If you say no, that's okay. The good news is that today there actually are options, right? And I didn't even know that there were bariatric surgeons for children. I mean, I didn't even know that.
I didn't either.
I get it's so I'm just glad we talked about it, and I'm glad that he was, brave enough to put himself out there, because you never know what's coming around the corner. And we did run over a good bit on time today, but it was just such good information. And I hope you guys have all can forgive us for that and enjoy it for all that it was, because I'm not cutting any of it. Mostly because I don't know how.
It was chock full of information. I mean, it wasn't just educational, but it was things you can literally apply to your life. So
yeah, for sure.
It's fascinating. Yeah.
Well, it has been awesome. Let's do our classic sign-offs until next time.
Sign off.
So my sign-off is always going to be hasta la pasta, because I heard it in a kid's show and it's just fun. But also just remember that, on the show, we want to educate you so that you feel more empowered to, go and learn, and that you can advocate for yourself. But we want you to know you're not alone. It's not your fault. It's not a moral failing. There are biological reasons and science behind this. It is not your fault, and you are not alone. So I'm just glad that you're able to come here and feel a little less alone today. And hasta la pasta from me. What about you, Kat?
So everybody, well, you guys know that I recently moved, and so I unpacked a box today, and I found this book that I read called The Choice. By Dr. Eger. She survived Auschwitz. She's a psychiatrist. So, and it just made me think of what we're doing today. I just had to go through it. So really, really quickly, there's this section in the book where she talks about how, when the Allies freed or liberated Auschwitz and the Jews in Germany, and when this conditioned helplessness that the prisoners had, they were freed, they ran away, but then they came back to the camp because this learned helplessness. They didn't know what to do. And so that just kind of transforms into this where I feel like we, as in the obesity community, we kind of have this learned helplessness where I don't know what to do anymore. I'm just going to give up. And it's not true. The ideology that has been pounded into your brain it's just not true. That's a perception that you've been conditioned to. And now it's time to stand up, get a great doctor, get a doctor that listens.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. That was great. What about you, Janine?
Well, I always say, and it really applies to me today, it is a marathon and not a sprint.
So true. You can't get away from it. It's the truth.
I feel like that just, follows me, but it is so true. It's something that my grandfather always say. And he's like, sweetheart, the race is not given to the swift, but to those that endure.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's your new sign off. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today. We will be back next week. And until then, just
hasta la pasta.
And hasta la pasta.
See you next week.
Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications, and I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. and I had hot flashes, and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause, and I started HRT, and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through this same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, and this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you have this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need. Today's episode is brought to you by Ro, a telehealth platform that's changing the game of GLP-1 access. What sets Ro apart? Ro understands the challenges of navigating insurance hurdles and the skyrocketing prices of GLP-1 medications. That's why they specialize in getting insurance approvals for GLP-1s. And if insurance is a barrier, they go a step further by prescribing brand name zepbound vials for prices close to those of compound GLP-1s. With Ro, you're not just getting a prescription, you're getting a partner in your journey that's helping you access affordable treatment and guiding you every step of the way. Whether it's insurance approvals or cost-effective alternatives, Ro is here to make sure that you get the medication you need. Visit ro.co/plussides with a Z today to see how they can help you take control of your weight management journey with affordable, accessible care. That's ro.co/plussides with a Z, making healthcare work for you. Check out the link in our show notes for more details. Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.